car. What are you doing? It's 6:03.
Willie, can I ask you a question?
Uh-oh. I don't know.
We're engaged. We're engaged. I mean, we've been engaged now for like 13 years.
Stop.
Do you think I should be able to hold her hand at this point in the engagement?
With her consent.
If you'll be quiet, I'll hold your hand.
Well, that's one way to shut them up. Let's take an inventory. Unemployment non-existent? Check. GDP soaring? Check. Trade imbalance addressed? Check. Nuclear threat reduced? Check. Terror seems at bay? Check. Things are looking up. Why is that? If only the flag had arms to hug him back. Feels like a good run for everyone. It is. Satisfaction with the country's direction has reached a 12-year high, while trust in the mainstream media drops to another low, which could be why the press has gone nuttier than an elephant's diarrhea. Thank you. Thank you. That means it worked. For as it becomes harder to deny something is working, the harder the media works to show something is wrong. So how do you smear America as the Third Reich when it's not? You lie. Take Time magazine's cover. This weeping young girl became the media's poster child for evil Trump's separation policy. But turns out she was with her mother the whole time, and her mom, according to Dad, took the child without telling him. Now, maybe your husband's bad, I don't know, but I do know the media spread this photo like a common cold just to keep the evil alive. Meanwhile, a feverish dolt is coming for you.
If you vote for Trump, then you, the voter, you, not Donald Trump, are standing at the border like Nazis going, you here, you here. And I think we now have to flip it. And it's a given, the evilness of Donald Trump. But if you vote, you can no longer separate yourself.
That's the next step. Everyone's a Nazi. Now remember, once you brand someone as evil, that allows for any or all behavior. You can show up at people's homes because they're Nazis. You can threaten their kids because they're Nazis. You can shoot congressmen because they're Nazis. Funny, the people shouting Nazi do a great job impersonating them. If Donnie Deutsch got any dumber, he'd be two Donnie Deutsches. Because what he's mad about actually happened before Trump. The only change is the guy in office. Brooke Baldwin, a rare exception, she got it right.
Here's a question for Democrats. So many people in this country are certainly outraged by the cages and the thermal blankets and the facilities housing these kids. You know, they were all there in 2014 under President Obama. And my question to you, Senator Baldwin, is did you speak up against them then?
You know, on this issue that we get into a moment where we're making progress, and then when it stalls, we turn around.
I don't think those were words. Talk about a deer in the headlights. That senator, she just got mugged by the truth in broad daylight. So people now care about the problem because it's Trump. Good. Imagine if you had 4 more years of some Democrat, the human trafficking that happened under Obama would still be largely ignored. It's true this abuse happened while he was president. Even the liberal website Snopes agrees. But then the press forgot that they covered it because amnesia won't interrupt their anti-Trump tantrum. So now Trump owns it while trying to stop it and solve a greater problem. Fact, long-term fixes have short-term setbacks. Adults get this. Children never do, and by children I mean the media. Their outrage is unaccompanied by an adult solution. We know separating kids from parents, that's bad. Leaving kids with traffickers, that's worse. But I applaud those for waking up to an issue they slept through under Obama. But Trump is succeeding, and that's their nightmare. And even if Trump compromises, it's not enough. In their game, the goalpost is on wheels. Here's the current liberal opinion. Split up a family temporarily, you're a Nazi. Keep the family together, you're also a Nazi. But as for a solution, they freeze. They don't need solutions. All they need are feelings. Here's a former Obama official explaining how to solve the immigration problem.
I wish that I could bake a cake made out of rainbows and smiles and we'd all eat it, be happy.
She doesn't even go here.
Do you even go to this school? No, I just have a lot of feelings.
That's all you need. So the left called Trump Hitler as Trump handles North Korea, trade, jobs, terror, etc. That's the opposite of Hitler. He's a Gandhi, an orange Gandhi. Which is why the left is losing it. The latest, of course, is Peter Fonda. Yeah, he's lost his motorcycle and his marbles. This brain-dead basket case suggested kidnapping and assaulting Donald Trump's child. What did I say before? Deem someone evil, and you can do anything to him. And so the liberal manifesto has been boiled down to 2 words, F you. Actually, that's 1 letter and a word. But instead of professional suicide, Fonda has a movie coming out. What Roseanne did was zilch compared to this. The double standard thrives. But it's not just Fonda. Every celebrity, they're all dull conformists. They think alike, talk alike. At times, they even walk alike. Here they are on the red carpet. No wonder they hate Trump. He's a bigger star and he's more entertaining. What would you rather watch? Sarah Sanders reducing Jim Acosta to a puddle, or Peter Fonda trying to eat peas? That's all I can take. But it's not about kids, really. It's about 2020 and a willingness to cleave a country over it. Luckily, America gets it. A new poll has a large majority believing the media is inherently biased. As optimism in the country grows, and as more people reject the mainstream media, journalists get furious, like Mean Girls uninvited to the prom. Hence the mental chaos, the threats to Trump's son, shout-outs to Hitler, tweeted pictures of death camps. The world's crumbling. It began when Trump was elected, when Paul Krugman and his ilk then predicted, of course, economic collapse. Wrong again, you jackasses. The economy is on fire, which is the only reason you can afford therapy. Let's welcome tonight's guest. He has more punchlines than a high school dance. Writer and comedian Joe DeVito. She's so sharp, her parents never gave her balloons. She's attorney Emily Capano. Misery loves her company. National Review reporter Kat Timpf. And there is no deep end in his swimming pool. Former WWE superstar, massive sidekick Tyrus. All right. Joe, we know this is a tough subject. Nobody wants to separate kids. What is irking you?
Well, I think that senator missed a perfect opportunity. That's when you pretend your microphone and earpiece don't work.
Yes.
You don't just start fumfring like... If you believe Trump is that bad, then you don't need to make fake photographs, and you don't need to repurpose photographs from 4 years ago. It's a serious issue, and it should be treated seriously instead of ignoring it the way the people who had the reins of power for the past 8 years did. It's not going to be easy, and there's going to be a lot of suffering, but I think what pisses off the left the most is the idea that there are people who want to come to the United States of their own volition. That's what drives them nuts. Because if that means that the United States is not the worst racist hellhole for non-white people, then their whole value system gets exploded.
That is an interesting and very perceptive thought.
I do what I can.
All right, Emily. You are the legal mind. And I want to ask you, is basically Trump's sin is trying to enforce laws, and he'll enforce a law if they change the law, right? Isn't that kind of how he is? Or
Right, that's exactly what's happening, is that he's trying to enforce the law, but he's running into the same conundrum that Obama did, which is essentially if you please the masses, then you're not enforcing the law, and if you enforce the law, then people are up in arms. And I think this issue is, it's an iceberg, and the reality of our southern border and the 9 border sectors of it is that it's not just about the drug cartels as being these linchpins. It's the messaging, first of all, that's been oversimplified by both sides, and also we have to think about what's pushing and driving these people so desperately desperately to our borders, and
Right.
what is the pull factors that we have on our side attracting them, which includes now catch and release and under the former administration. So I think the journalists that are doing the best work there, people like Brandon Darby and Aura Bogado, they're amazing because they're not subscribing to that messaging, and they're really committing to the fact that it's actually diplomacy, which is where we need to put our efforts, and that there's a lot more people involved in these cartels that are financiers and bankers and attorneys in these places, that they are far more powerful than the actual cartel heads. But again, messaging just reduces it. So how are we to actually combat these Central American pull factors and push factors if we don't actually know the whole picture?
Emily, you smartest stuff this week. Cyrus, I feel like
my mic ain't working. I'm not following.
I was going to say.
Ask me about Dennis Rodman.
All right, Dennis Rodman is going to Honduras to we were talking earlier. It's like it seems like the left got this is Christmas for them.
You finally got one.
Yeah.
But they don't know what to do with it. They're like a dog chasing a tire. It's like, oh, we got him. And they just fumble it away because they just don't know how to play their hand.
Right. They overplay the hand.
Yeah, it was a bad week for Trump. When he does well, we have to say, good job, Mr. President. And when he has a bad week, we're going to say, hey, pull it back. The pundits didn't handle it right. Everybody kind of went into business for themselves. They said whatever they wanted to say, and because it's an ugly thing. But here in the States, this is something that on the social media, I kind of got into it this week, was like, if someone in this audience has their children in the car with them and they get pulled over for misdemeanor and they go to jail, their kids go to the system.
Right.
Like, being arrested and committing a crime is a rough, ugly thing. It affects a lot of people. And your children, if they're with you, if you're choosing to break the law, they go to the system.
Yeah.
Now, I understand the reasons why you're coming to this country. I get it. I grew up in California. I was around a lot of immigrants that were coming in. One person, awesome. And for the most part, they were there to work, raise their families, and they worked hard. So I kind of have. There's also that bad element, and we have to be able to screen, because even if you let in 500 great, hardworking, soon-to-be American citizens, and one of them's a mass murderer, that's one too many.
Yeah.
And we have to screen, and we have to vet, and we have to do those things.
Kat, do you think it's... where do you think this is going with the constant Nazi-Hitler comparisons? I mean, is this ever going to end? Or where is it going?
I did not like the separation policy. Not a fan. Glad that it's not a thing anymore. Although I really just genuinely don't understand how it's like Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
I don't get how that's even a comparison. So I'm convinced that a lot of people maybe just don't know what Nazi Germany is.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe I think it just kind of spreads like wildfire. Like, they hear one person say it and they're like, they realize that what they have to do to fit in with all their buddies is agree that it's Nazi Germany.
Yes.
So that way everybody, or else you're going to think that you're a jerk. So everyone just keeps repeating it without ever actually really explaining it.
Well, if you believe being a Nazi means being in favor of school vouchers, you've given yourself a wide range of people you can call a Nazi.
Yeah.
If you just include anyone who doesn't agree with you vociferously as a Nazi, that's how they get away with it. It's completely illogical.
I think you're a Nazi.
Fair.
But you know what?
For real?
Yeah. The ironic conclusion here, and I know I got to go. Trump gave a lot of these cynical hypocrites the wherewithal to do their job. Now, this is a real problem that reporters are now going after. Only because it's under Trump. They actually care about the kids now. So it's actually, thank you, Trump, for making reporters care, once again, about children. All right, coming up. The midterms are coming. The Dems are fired up. The Republicans are fired up. Everyone's fired up except my cousin Steve, because he's a big jerk. Good job. Pew Research survey finds that voter enthusiasm for the midterm elections is at its highest point in 20 years, and it's mostly because of the president. The good news, the eagerness extends to both Republicans and Democrats. The bad, we could all end up killing each other. Some key findings: 60% of voters consider their midterm vote as a vote either for Trump or against him. And 51% said they're just simply more excited about voting than usual. And 98% said I'm better looking than Bill Hemmer and Brian Kilmeade combined. Yeah. Can't argue with the American voter. So will it be the blue wave or the GOP undertow? We went to our chief political correspondent, my cousin Steve, for comment. Told you he was a jerk. And yeah, my cousin Steve is a cat. So what? So Tyrus, I think this an analogy for me is like, what if the Super Bowl is every day and every person has a team in it and the team is like red and blue? It's like every day is like, it's like constant.
After a while, it won't be be like, it's, you know what, man, Dr. Tom Pritchard was one of my first wrestling coaches. He used to say, hey, you got to treat it like there's two elephants having sex in your front yard.
Really?
Right? Every time you wrestle, you do big moves, right? Big, right? Two elephants having sex. After day 10, it's just two elephants having sex in your front yard. You don't walk by, excuse me, it's not even a big thing anymore. And the point is, with all this drama and stuff, after a while, unless something's going on unless Trump like punched somebody or, you know, or we blew something up, it just depends on who's winning that week for where the voter turnout is going to be. So right now, yeah, we got a lot of elephants getting it on in their front yards right now.
All right, Joe. I admit that I feel that this could devolve into total chaos. People, it's just, and the media just wants a climax that's like the end of Carrie.
I'm a big fan of partial chaos.
Yes.
I don't want total chaos, but why don't we just have a big lever in the booth that just says Trump on it? And whatever you like, you either pull it down for him or you lift it up if you're against him, and then we don't have to argue policy. You just vote with whatever your feelings are.
All right, Kat. Where do you think this is going to go? Blue wave or red undertow?
I think it's really hard to say, but I don't think that it's surprising at all that Trump is inspiring all this enthusiasm. If you really think about it, if you ask somebody, hey, what did you think of this thing that Trump said or that Trump did? No one's ever like, meh.
No.
They're never like, I don't know, it was fine. They're either like, this was the best thing ever, or they're like, he is so bad, we're all gonna die.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that someone that inspires those kinds of emotions are resulting in enthusiasm. And normally in the midterms, the party that's already in power to say doesn't have that kind of enthusiasm.
That
With
is
Trump,
true.
it's different. So I don't think that we can expect that there'll just be a blue wave, because I think it's a lot different with Trump.
You know, my theory, Emily, is that this is a way more personal decision for the anti-Trumpers. But Trump is basically the hood ornament for a car that they hate, because Trump symbolizes a whole swath of Americans. So the vote is against like this whole idea, the deplorables, maybe.
You're right. The idea that they have created and perpetuated, and that isn't accurate. And I find it ironic that it is Democrats statistically who now are feeling more pumped up to go to the polls because of party control in the House or the Senate.
True.
And I also think it's interesting that the United States still remains 26 out of 32 in terms of highly democratic developed countries in terms of voter turnout. So I'd like to take this to plug and be an advocate for restoring post-felony conviction and probation rights, because to me that's 4 million people whose rights could be restored to vote and who better to participate in the democratic process, especially with criminal justice reform, than those who have lived it. If only a smaller portion of our eligible voters are even participating, why not include those who really could make a difference and should because of their knowledge?
I don't want criminals to vote. I think it's going to be hard to be a Democrat because you have to be against peace, against jobs, against fighting ISIS, against GDP growth. You got to be for bad news in order to win.
Not necessarily, Greg. You just have to go with whatever the narrative is. You just have to be anti-Trump.
Yeah, that's true.
You can sort the other stuff out later. He just can't win. The biggest problem is if you're looking at on both sides, some of the characters we got running.
Yes.
I mean, even Trump's like,
oh, I know.
Like, you know,
true.
like
it's true. There's a couple of people
the Democrats
there.
are like, yeah, this guy's gonna. I mean, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Our Senate's terrible. They don't even have a rating, I don't think. They're like 0.5. They're like a little bit higher than like the worst kind of criminals, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, they're just not popular. They don't get anything done.
All right.
It's ugly.
All right. Still to come, Angela Merkel's parliamentary coalition seems ready to collapse. Just kidding. Our special World Cup coverage is next. Stick around.
Robert Gray. The proposed summit between President Trump and Russia's Vladimir Putin may be happening soon. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo tells MSNBC the duo will likely meet in the, quote, not too distant future. Pompeo says security advisor John Bolton is heading to Moscow Sunday or Monday to lay the groundwork. Pompeo has no plans to travel to Moscow before the summit, but does plan a meeting elsewhere with his Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov. They've had several telephone conversations. And women in Saudi Arabia are driving into history. That nation's controversial ban on women driving has finally ended. But there's much to be done before many women can hit the road. Most still don't have licenses, and there's a long waiting list for the gender-segregated driving courses. I'm Robert Gray. Now back to the Greg Gutfeld Show.
They're making a splash by picking up trash. The World Cup continues through mid-July, but we already know the best fans are from Japan, Senegal, and Uruguay. Got it. They were spotted tidying up the stadiums after their matches. Japanese fans brought their own garbage bags. Compare that to a Raiders game when you leave in a garbage bag. I'm a Raiders fan. Still, with no Team USA to root for, American viewers seem less interested this time around. And favorites like Germany and Brazil, both countries, haven't drawn viewers like the Americans did. But it's not a total loss. This week, the world met this guy. This is Hervé Renard. Look at him. He's the head coach of Morocco. I said, look at this guy. Anyway, back to soccer. My problem with soccer is not enough happens. If only there was a drug for it.
And immediate pressure coming from the Serbians.
Hey, Tom, what's wrong, man? You all right? Oh, I've been watching soccer for 90 minutes and nothing's happened. No one scored. I don't feel well at all. I'm so bored, I'm numb.
I mean, soccer's not about scoring. It's called the beautiful game because it transcends goals.
What I'd give for a little excitement.
Sounds like you could use some Scorex.
What's that?
It turns soccer into something exciting that isn't like soccer at all.
Tell me more.
Scorex is the breakthrough drug that breaks up the monotony of soccer, making it fun for a change by turning it into hockey.
Whoa! How's it work?
Scorex is an eye drop that distorts your vision to make soccer look just like hockey. Your brain will think you're watching something truly exciting, even though you aren't.
I never thought I could love soccer so much. Come on, man! Yeah! Get into it! Thanks, Scorex.
You're welcome.
Hey, announcer. I got a question. What will happen if I take Scorex while I'm watching a regular hockey game?
You don't want to do that.
Why not?
Because you'll see this.
Trump said, if I'm wrong, I will admit it. Yeah, right, when pigs fly.
Scorex, for when you want all the excitement of the Stanley Cup, even when you're watching the World Cup. Warning, Scorex is equal parts saline and LSD.
I'd buy it. All right. Emily, I grew up playing soccer. I love playing it. I can't watch it. Isn't that strange? Is it because as I got older, I just can't play it because you have to be really fit? I don't know.
That makes sense. I mean, I think, you know, it's true that America is not participating in this World Cup, so maybe that probably has contributed to the fact that not a lot of Americans are watching it right now. But I think it would be good if other cities did what LA does, which is host high-profile teams, and it's sponsored by corporations. Like we could have PepsiCo out here in New York and have Barcelona come out and play the New York, and then, you know, it would garner interest.
Dream on, Emily.
But to invest for 2026, yes. And also we obviously got the World Cup out of Morocco's hands, and our friends China and Korea and France and Brazil voted against us in that.
Time for a war. You know, Joe, I have an idea to make soccer better. You put bases on the field, so you have something to run to. Then you have a guy that holds like a piece of wood, like a bat, and he hits a ball that's way smaller than a soccer ball, and he hits it, and then he runs, and then the other soccer players, they have like these big leather gloves, and they try to catch the orb as it's coming at them, but you got to get rid of the nets.
You're not suggesting they use their upper body limbs.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah. I think this shows the contrast between, first of all, people aren't watching NFL football like they used to.
That's true.
Let alone this metric variety. I like the looks of that coach. I like how the coaches dress well. His shirt is so tailored he can barely move.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Compare him to Bill Belichick, who looks like he just rolled out of bed.
That guy is so handsome, he's actually ugly.
It's too much.
It's like I can't really look at him because I'm repulsed by his beauty.
It's too much. It's like he went and said, "Give me the makeover for a Die Hard villain."
Yes.
But it shows you the contrast. They're in the stands with garbage bags, whereas if you go to a Dallas Cowboys game, filled with.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right. That's right.
We're leaving that one in.
Right.
Tyrus, I have another improvement on soccer.
I'm just going to stop you.
Okay.
Stop you right now because all I want to do is walk over there and just give you a Melvin and leave you on the top of the thing. The World Cup is great.
Yes.
Let me hear your idea why I control myself.
All right. You have the teams line up against each other, and a ball is like hiked from one guy to another, and then he throws it to people who can catch it. And after 3 attempts, if you can't get, like, say, past 10 yards, then you can use your feet by kicking the ball.
Greg, you ignorant slut. Listen, I'm enjoying the World Cup very much. I'm in a big pool at Hard Knock South, and I drew England, and when I watch the games, I'm also colluding with Russia. That's my second team. Yeah, I'm colluding with Russia. So I went out because I always get costumes and stuff.
Yes.
We do this big time, and I wear an English judge's wig while I watch the game and insult whoever I'm side betting on the game. It's a lot of fun, and Joe, you guys should try it at home. It's a lot of fun.
Wow.
Scoring's up.
Yeah.
There's a lot of upsets. It's a lot of fun. It's a good time. I work 1 day a week. So for me, this is great.
You mean you don't prepare all week for this show? My God. That hurts me deeply, Tyrus. All right, Kat, what final thoughts on this? What do you think about it? You watch?
I watch reality TV almost exclusively.
Yes.
If it's not about murder or pregnant teens or people struggling to get off of drugs,
yes,
I'm not really that interested in it.
Yes.
Now, a group of all those people kicking a ball around.
Yes.
I would watch that. I don't like soccer. I have a trauma of playing soccer as a child. The trauma was that I played it.
Yes.
And I was not very good.
It's hard.
It was hard. My parents would pay me a quarter every time I kicked the ball because I kept running away from it. And that's, makes it hard to be successful in the game of soccer, which is centered around the ball.
Yeah. I will say this. I love playing it, but I can't play it. I'm out of shape. You can't. It's an impossible game to play if you're out of shape. Impossible.
Well, Greg, you don't have to be in shape to watch it.
Yes, that's true. Well, you need to be interested in it because it's really boring.
It's the World Cup.
Yeah. I don't care if there's a lot of things about this world that's
covered by Fox.
The world is covered by water, and water's not that interesting. Okay.
Water polo would be fun for you.
Oh, those poor horses. Terrible joke.
Go to commercial.
One last thing before we go to break. I just wanted to share this video of a dream I had last night. Coming up, Jimmy Fallon apologizes for interviewing Trump, and we shake our heads in disgust. Yes.
Go ahead with my hairspray.
Now, that was back in 2016, about a month and a half before Trump won the election because of that. At the time, Jimmy Fallon took a bunch of crap for that playful interview and its lighthearted tone. But this week, he opened up to The Hollywood Reporter, a magazine, about the gang mentality he faced online during the fallout, and he defended himself.
I did not do it to normalize him or to say I believe in his political beliefs or any of that stuff. It was definitely a downtime, and it's tough for morale. You go, all right, we get it. I heard you. Right. You made me feel bad. So now what? You happy? I'm depressed. You want to push me more, or what do you want me to do? I made a mistake. I'm sorry if I made anyone mad. And looking back, I would do it differently.
That's all I can say. But I don't really know how he would do it differently. But my advice, just ask him some hard-hitting questions like this.
What kind of products should have the Gutfeld name on it?
Well, you play golf, don't you?
No, poorly. I'm a terrible golfer.
We could name a golf club or something after you.
Yeah.
We could name a
gutter, like it's a Gutfeld putter, but call it the gutter.
A gutter putter.
So there's always a point behind my idiocy.
I will never apologize for that. Although, I should. That was terrible. All right, Joe, I think Fallon should have won a Pulitzer for that scoop because he gave us proof of the actual contents of Trump's hair. No one had done that before.
Yeah.
And he gets ridiculed for that.
That looked like something that should be on the Weather Channel when he mixed it up like that. Very strange. I think people were too hard on him, but Jimmy Fallon's an entertainer.
Yeah.
He tells you that right off the bat. He doesn't hide it. And I think there's a place for that because even as someone who's in the entertainment business, I like to see...
You are?
On the margins of it.
Okay.
I mean, it's a big business somewhere on the periphery. But that we need some place for just where you don't have to be inundated with politics all the time. Whether it's ruining movie franchises, it's ruining the enjoyment of sports.
Yes.
There's a place for it, and if that's how you want to express yourself, that's fine. But people wonder why they're agitated all the time because they're constantly getting themselves worked up.
I can't wait till politics enters pornography. How is that going to change adult entertainment? But we won't get into that here. We'll do that later for the midnight show. Hey, Kat, it seems like politics is not just personal in Hollywood. It's a survival mechanism, which he's learning, that he crossed a line. He, quote, normalized Trump.
What was he supposed to do?
Yeah.
This is a comedy show. Was he supposed to sit Trump down and just sit there and go, you are bad, you are a bad man, and I don't like you, and I don't support you, and then go to the commercial break? Great bit, bro. I mean, what else was he supposed to do? And you can't fault him for putting Trump on a show either, because I don't know if you remember 2016. You would just go through the channels, and somehow Trump would be on every single one of them at the exact same time.
He was on CNN more than Jake Tapper. And now they don't take any of his rallies after they essentially CNN elected Trump with their constant coverage. Tyrus, they didn't seem to mind any other political interviews, but they didn't like this one.
What bothers me about this, and honestly, shame on Fallon for apologizing.
Yes.
When you disagree with somebody or you don't see eye to eye, what is so wrong with getting along and being playful and showing people that you can have differences? Yeah, maybe he wasn't going to vote for him. Maybe he didn't like him, but they could laugh and joke. And that's kind of missing in this country. Like, if you don't see eye to eye with me, well, most of you can't, but if you can't see eye to eye with me, it means we hate each other.
Yeah.
So what was he supposed to do?
Yeah.
Like, I'm never going to apologize for like, being polite to Juan or, you know, guys who have different views than me or whatever. And someone comes to me like, how could you be like that? I'd be like, shut your ass up. I'll do what I want.
Yeah.
You know, like, he should have said the same thing. I'm not going to apologize for entertaining and being respectful. Maybe we don't agree. It's ridiculous to me that we live in a world like, oh, how could you be nice to him?
Yeah, it's
because it's what you're supposed to do.
And Emily, I think his apology could be translated to, next time I will know better than to cross the cult. Like the anti-Trump cult, it's like he violated a law. He wasn't sorry about his opinion. He was sorry that he got in trouble.
Totally. And it's difficult for me to muster sympathy for him in that regard when he complains about the gang mentality that he was subjected to. I mean, if you put yourself out there to that degree, then obviously you kind of have to take the heat. And I agree with you, Tyrus, that he could have used it as a platform and an example of, all right, so let's talk about it, or let's just be kind to another person and let's joke. Let's actually have a reprieve from politics, like you were saying, and actually enjoy ourselves for 60 minutes. But instead, he's now pandering to the rest of the group think, and he's become annoying. Yeah, no, it's sad. It's sad. But then again, the people he's dealing with wouldn't give him the time of day if he tried, because it's a cult. Still to come, are kids nothing but trouble? That debate, plus a live karate demonstration. Next, that's a lie. 5-year-old Kansas boy, aren't we all, could be on the hook for $132,000 after their son knocked over a sculpture at a local community center. It was caught on video. Love saying that. Sarah Goodman says she and her husband were saying goodbye to friends when the boy wandered over to the statue. He hugged it and it fell over. A few days later, she received a claim from the city's insurance company saying it was damaged beyond repair, with a letter that read, quote, "You're responsible for the supervision of a minor child. Your failure to monitor could be considered negligent, and we will kill your child." I added that as a joke. The artist who created it says he expects to be reimbursed because the artwork can no longer be sold. Wish I could monetize my passion. And basically speaking, usually at common law, parents can't be held vicariously liable for negligence of their children unless it was willful or malicious. But parents can be held liable for their own negligence in failing to supervise a child. And to me in that video,
kids.
Yes, and the fact that they weren't, the parents, that's not the parents on the couch. The parents were in a different room saying goodbye at a wedding, and for the parents to turn around, victimize themselves and claim that it's a travesty, that they should be given the bill and their son could have been injured, etc. When we saw him pulling it down and wrestling with it, to me it's another indicator that there's absolutely no accountability or responsibility. And now that kid is learning that if he creates damage or causes damage, then his parents will just fight for him in court and, oh honey, just sit down, I'll fight your battle.
I'll tell you one thing, Joe, this is why I don't have kids. I don't want some punk kid, you know, clearing out my life savings that I've worked hard for. You know, you have a kid, you work for 20 years, you got a good bank account, your kid ruins it.
Yeah, well, if the kid's not responsible and the parents aren't responsible, who's responsible then? And it wasn't like he bumped into it. He went and pulled it down. And you know who else pulled down statues? The Taliban.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. You know, Kat, I have a theory that the definition of art is narrow. Why can't the broken vase be art? Why don't they just rename it Broken Vase, double the price? Then, because anything can be art. Call it Broken Vase.
Too bad you're not this kid's parents, Greg. What a great idea. No, they're fighting over whether it was the center's fault or whether it was the parents' fault. It was the kid's fault. This kid is 5, not 3. Yeah. When I was in the when I was 5, I was in the 1st grade. I was like learning how to read, not learning how to like not knock things over that don't belong to me.
You were 5 in 1st grade?
Yes, I was.
Wow.
We took a field trip to the Detroit Institute of Art, and I did not run around ripping paintings off the walls because I'm not a hellion.
All right, Tyrus, you got kids.
Oh, yeah, I do. Well, first of all, this is on the parents.
Yeah.
There was 2 of them. While you guys were dropping your knowledge, I continued to watch the monitor. Those boys walked by that thing 3 times. The first one touched it, the other was like, don't touch it, I'll touch it. And this is what happens when you have 2 boys. And then eventually one tries out to do the other one, and they broke the vase. So, cha-ching, you bought it. Me, I'd keep the one who didn't, and I would donate the other one to the museum.
All right, you know, if I were the lawyer for the family, this is what I would say. I go, that child was exercising his right to performance art. That crashing the vase was a performance because it represents his rage against the Trump administration. The art world would embrace that. It's like, oh my God, this kid is brilliant. Yes, this is the Trump White House. And then they'd sell the broken vase for $20 million. Happy ending for everybody. Don't go anywhere. I may be coming to a town near you, and I'm going to tell you where. That's next. Don't go.